today, right here, right now. This is the moment that you will finally say,
I'm growing my accounting practice, and we're going to discover exactly how right here, right now,
on the Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Ron Saharian, co-founder of Profit First Professionals.
And I'm Liz Sport, guide here at Profit First Professionals.
and I'm Mike Kalowitz here, author of Profit First, brand new book in the works. It's also about money. Can't tell you what it is yet, but it's now officially on the way. Welcome.
More money, more problems.
Oh, yeah. With nasty Big B singing away to it. You're listening, my friends, to GMAP stands for Grow My Accounting Practice. This is the show where we teach all accountants, bookkeepers, and coaches who are joining in here how to grow your practice. By the way, you're going to learn from the master of all masters, the Obi-Ron Senior, if you will. Ron Baker's joining us. We also have insider access from Obi-Ron Jr., Ron Saharian, and a GMAP Now task that you're going to learn all today.
Yeah, guys, and don't forget to subscribe to Grow My Accounting Practice podcast so you never miss an episode. And also, thank you to Victor Lopez at FlexPoint, who are our sponsors of today's show. FlexPoint is the exclusive provider to Profit First Professionals. So reach out to Victor at FlexPoint. Tell him the team at Profit First Home Base says hello.
My one question for the in-studio crew is, what about this weather? Are you done with winter yet? Liz,
Nope.
You're up first.
No.
You're just getting into it. Now, we're recording in
I-
January, so.
Yeah, no, I love being cold. I'm an early morning walker, as y'all know. So I appreciate and embrace every season. I have a coat and gloves and a hat. So I'm okay.
Okay. Obi-Ron,
about you?
what's your feeling? Done with winter yet?
I'm done.
Oh,
I'm
really?
done with it. I'm fed up with it. I understand why Florida is appealing, and I'm going to Naples in February for a little bit.
Getting out for some warmth.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to me. I turned into a wuss. I mean, I used to love the cold, like really love it. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's getting to me too, and it's early in the season. I think what it
have
was.
heat in my house.
You need a better coat and a hat and gloves then, gentlemen.
Well, what I think it was just the early snow before Christmas. At first, that was exciting, and now I'm like, it's been snowing for so long now.
But it's cold.
Yeah, and it's cold. His name is Ron Baker. He is the founder of the VeraSage Institute, is a renowned author, speaker, and advocate for value pricing in the professional service industry. I don't know if you know this, Ron Saharian. He's got 8 best-selling books. He's a global influencer, is dedicated or has educated over 400,000 professionals and earned recognition as one of accounting's today's top 100 most influential people. Today, we're going to talk about the transformation economy. This is a new economy. It's upon us. Better be ready for it. With no further ado, Ron Baker, welcome to our show.
Thanks, Mike.
And George
Thanks,
Sakai
Mike.
welcomes you too.
And thanks, Ron. Thanks, Liz, for having me. Glad to be back after what, 10
it's way
years,
too
something?
long.
It's
Feels
been
like a long time.
And we all look younger. That's like what they say at the high school reunions, at least.
Right.
Exactly the same.
Tell us what exactly is the transformation economy?
This is really exciting, you guys. Economic errors are defined by their outputs. So we've been through the agricultural revolution when we produce commodities, wheat and other agricultural products. Then we moved into mass customized products, which are tangible, and those are goods. So we moved into the industrial revolution, mass customized or mass produced goods. And then, of course, in the 1920s, we started to see more services come online, insurance and restaurants and all different types of services. And services are, of course, intangible, and they're delivered on time as needed, just in time, if you will. And then in the 90s, economists started to identify experiences where we went to Chuck E. Cheese, we went to Disneyland and Disney World. And of course, we've been doing that since the 50s, but this became a bigger deal. We started going to, rock concerts and things like that. Today, I believe we're at another hinge point in history where we're moving into the transformation economy. And transformations it's the universal desire, like Ben Franklin said, to be healthier, wealthier, and wiser. And consumers are going to seek out those companies that help them do this. You already see this with apps like Go Low and Noom that help you lose weight, other things that, your watch and other things that help you become healthier, the Aurora ring, whatever. There's all sorts of examples of this, but these are transformations. And when you guide transformations for your customers, The customer's the product. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, you are changing the customer. You are transforming that customer from, a smoker to a non-smoker, from a fit to an unfit, or unfit to a fit person. These are all personal transformations. And accounting professionals have been doing this forever. And finally, now we have a vocabulary and a language that can describe it, because every prior offering, whether it's experiences or products or services, are going to be subsumed into the transformation. So it's not about the services anymore. Accountants do not provide more value by stacking services brick by brick by brick by brick. They provide the highest level of value by guiding transformations, and the services are just a means to that end.
Is that too big of an idea? Transformation? Like, I mean, every diet comes with a book, yet people are still overweight. Everybody's trying to transform. We just had a New Year's resolution. Everybody's got their goals. We've been trying to help with transformation as well. Is it too big of a concept versus, hey, let's just change this one little thing to have a major impact versus a full
Yeah,
transformation?
that's a great question, Ron, and it's finally something that's being flushed out. There are actually many different types of transformations. The big ones we all know, right? You get married, you have children. Philosophers talk about, would you become a vampire? That's a transformation that is
Or
called a
which?
wild, or a witch. It's a wild problem, right? Because you have no idea what it would be like to be a vampire until you do it, right? Now, those are transformations that accountants can still guide. We help people plan their legacy. How much does Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett spend on planning their legacy? I assure you, it's a small fortune, right? So it's a small GDP country, what they spend on that. But they're planning their legacy for posterity. But there's different types of transformations in degree and kind, and then the scale of change, small or large. I'll just give you an example. If you take somebody from just saving money to actively wealth management, where they're actually building wealth, whether that's their portfolio or investments in real estate or profit first, I would think profit first would be a type of transformation when you're putting profit first rather than the way that GAP explains it, profit last. That's an example of a transformation. We can transform businesses. We can help them be more efficient. We can help them be more effective. We can help them better financing, structure, strategy, marketing, pricing. These are all transformations that we can do not only for business people, but for the personal lives as well. And accountants are well poised for this. Pretty hard to get Porsche to transform me. Sure, I can buy a Porsche and I can overcome my midlife crisis and I can make my neighbors jealous. But is that really a transformation? Maybe,
Yeah.
but CPAs and accountants are poised to do transformations just like doctors. They can keep us healthy. We can keep them wealthier and wiser.
Ron, you shared the vampire. You don't know what it's like until you do it. How do you sell transformation when your prospect hasn't done it yet?
Yeah, you have to have a discovery conversation with them about what it is they want for their future. This is all about human flourishing, whether we're talking about health, wealth, wiser, or purpose and meaning. It's all part of human flourishing, and that's what businesses contribute to. That's really, at the end of the day, what businesses create is human flourishing. We've lifted millions of people out of bone-crushing poverty, and we can continue to do that. But the great thing is you discover these. Everybody's got. I'll give you just an interesting example of this. My landscaper is giving me best curbside appeal over time. He's coming in and he's upgrading slowly my yard. He knows I want to sell the house in a couple years. And when I'm ready to sell, he has promised me that he will have best curbside appeal when I list the home. Now that's a transformation. He's not talking to me about the scope of work. He's not talking about, well, I'm going to do the trimming and the hedging and the
Right. None of the features, the detail.
right. He's going for an outcome. He's going for a result, or what I would call now a transformation, which is taking me from, getting HOA warning notices about my yard not being up to snuff to best curbside appeal. That's a transformation. He's pricing it that 3 times more than my prior landscaper. And guess what? I'm a happier
yeah.
customer.
Is
And I'm
bedrock
So-
paying him 3
landscaping?
times more.
So
Gotcha.
we are helping our members and, accountants and bookkeepers to be better as advisors. What's in this transformation economy? What is the question? How do we ask innovative questions around this model?
You have to ask them what their desired future is. I'll give you a real tangible example of this. The CEO of Fender was asked what was difficult about selling guitars. And he said, what's difficult about selling guitars is people are all excited when they buy a guitar. 95% of them will have lined up a teacher and lessons and all of that. And he says within 6 months, the guitar will go under the bed or in the closet. They give up. 95% of them give up.
Guilty. Guilty.
And he said, what's worse, he said, is they'll re-gift that guitar to their cousin and I'll lose another sale. So in 2017, the CEO of Fender launches Fender Play, a digital library of, I think it was 3,000 videos at the time. It's probably grown much more than that, to help you play the guitar to any level that you aspire, beginning, intermediate, advanced, probably beyond. When COVID struck in 19 and we were all locked down, learning new languages and baking bread, he said, we're going to make Fender Play available for a trial. I think it was 3 months. He got 1 million signups within a week, crashed their system. So they went
Awesome.
through they went through COVID. As of 2024, the latest numbers I can find, Fender Play has 930,000 subscribers. By 2000, they had 200,000. Now they have 930, paying $149 a year with a 5% churn rate. And Fender sold more guitars in 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 than they ever had in their corporate history.
Cool.
And
While Ron was sharing that, I don't know if you saw, I pulled up the app. So I play guitar.
Okay.
And I'm one of the guys who's the 5%er. I've been sticking with it.
Okay.
Fender Tune is the intro to Fender Play, and I have both. To your point.
Somebody just recommended it to my wife. My wife is one of the ones that picked back up her guitar that was in the closet for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so she's somebody just said you got to do Fender Play or Fender Tune or something like that.
Here's
So,
the,
yeah,
oh, go ahead,
Ron.
Mike.
Well, I'm just wondering, is that the transformation? Is it the realization that those customers were in a transactional state? I want, I have, I don't consume. Is transformation becomes part of you. There's an amalgamation.
Right. What it is it's the revenue model question. What are we asking our customers to pay us for? And Fender's CEO said, it's not guitars, it's musicianship at the level that you aspire to play, right? And if that just means you want to be a beginner that can sit around at a Christmas party and impress your family and friends, that's fine. That's still a transformation.
Yep.
Right? Taking somebody like me who only plays, Spotify, to somebody who can play an instrument. That's what we're talking about. And there's many other examples of this.
Amazing.
Right.
Is the conversation, just I want to finish out this example, because you were talking about the conversation about the outcome. Is it the conversation now? It used to be, do you want to own a guitar? Now is the conversation, do you want to be a musician?
Yep. Or at what level do you aspire to play?
Gotcha.
Yep.
So how does that translate for the accountant? Are they asking questions about, what do you want your business to be?
What's keeping you up at night?
What's
Increase,
keeping you up
decrease,
in
create?
what gets you up in the morning? Because that would be purpose and meaningful work. And the whole, are you working in your business or on your business? It's those conversations. It's also about where do you want to be in 5 years? Do you want to retire at 50? Whatever it might be. Do you want to try and get your kid into Penn? Do you want to build a second dream home or a dream first home? Whatever it might be, everybody's got aspirations to do something. And accountants can help with many of those, not all of them, but a lot of them. And we can do it serially. We can do it over and over from womb to tomb. From when the kid's born, we can plan the college. And when you die, we can plan your legacy. From womb to tomb, literally, we can guide transformations, whatever it may be. And I just think that that's the most powerful thing. This is why we became accounting professionals, to help people. I didn't become an accounting professional, bill the most hours, do the most tax returns, work the latest. I wanted to impact people through my skills. And as Michael Hammer defines a professional as someone who's responsible for creating a result rather than performing a task, we've turned everything into a task in this profession. Whether, we've chopped everything up into 6-minute increments. Do this, do that, do this task. Oh, gee, you opened up more accounts, you have more employees, your payroll's bigger. We have to go to the Department of Paperwork and get a change order, change your price. Forget all that. The services are just a means to an end to achieve these transformations. And when you guide transformations, the customer's the product, but they're also the hero of their journey. We're just their guide, but the customer's the hero. So the focus is on the customer.
So how would the accounting firm who it's the owner is still wrenching on the engine, doing the hiring as well as the strategy, they haven't transformed necessarily. How do those that have been doing the same thing over and over and over, make this transformation so that they can then transform the customers? Because I'm a believer that they've got to first put the oxygen mask over themselves, right? Or can they get away with transforming a customer by doing the same thing over and over themselves within their own business?
Yeah, this is a great question. It's the perennial problem, right? Just like you guys have, I'm sure,
Yeah.
moving people from gap accounting to profit first accounting. That's a transformation. How did you do that? Well, you set up a worldwide community to help people do that and gave them consulting. I think there's going to be offerings out there like that coming down the pike all the time. But what I'm excited about is this is what gets us back to our root. People
Mm,
want to do this. I think this profession has become way too transactional. We're way too focused on the math of the moment rather than customer lifetime relationships. So I think a good first interim step for firms is to move to the subscription business model, which puts the relationship at the center and de-emphasizes the services and the scope of work that take such precedence in a value pricing world or an hourly billing world. Because in a subscription business, you're looking at profit over the entire portfolio and you're building lifetime customer value. It's not about profit per se, it's about customer lifetime value, which by the way is a lot more valuable too when you go to sell. So you're going to get bigger multiples when you sell with a track record of recurring revenue and churn. Uh, we're seeing multiples of between 3 and 14 in
really?
professional firms. That's based on John Warrillow's work out of Canada, the author of Built to Sell, who I'm sure you've probably had on your show at some point. But he has seen this over and over, and he's written a great book on subscription, by the way, which is called The Automatic Customer.
Okay.
I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but
I feel like I'm in the greatest class I've taken in a long time.
I,
I love
I'll,
this.
I'll just say this. In 1999, a book was published. Maybe you read it. It was by Joe Pine and James Gilmore. It was called The Experience Economy.
Yeah.
In the experience economy, they laid out this progression of economic value: commodity, product, service, experience, and transformation. And when I read that, you guys, I read that book in 99 when it came out. In fact, I read it 2 years before it came out because there was an HB article on it. And when I read that, I said, oh, well, accountants are in services. And then I said, I got to transformations, which they didn't have many examples of because it just wasn't a big thing back then. And I said, but we're poised to do this. We do this. This is what we do. We just don't use this language. We certainly don't monetize this. What
Right.
are we monetizing? We're monetizing scope of work, right? We're monetizing the 6-minute increment rather than the transformation.
And the transformation starts at hello, right? And I also feel as though that it can be it should be a better experience for the prospect, right? One of the
Absolutely.
right, and so
Yep.
that's what we're trying to teach here within membership. Value starts at hello, and how you're having conversations, so that the experience that when they hang up the phone should be like, holy cow, that was great. It's going to be expensive, but it's going to be worth it. And I think there's a lost opportunity to, share some of these experiential changes or transformations during that initial phone call versus how many transactions do you have? How many bank accounts do you have? What is the software you're using? Where did your accountant fall short in the past before?
Right.
Yeah.
I think value starts at your brand.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking for a profit first accountant, I already have some type of idea of what I'm seeking, right? I'm seeking somebody that can guide me through this transformation of moving to profit first. And when I see that as a branded accountant, that's where value starts. Even it starts in the marketing even before the sale.
God bless you. I
It-
know. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, if I were to take, I mean, you see this too. If you take a bunch of accounting firms' websites, you shake them all up, you throw them out there, they pretty much all look the same. So, what kind of branding recognition do they have, with regards to their competition from the other one on Main Street? Not much. So, how can an accountant demonstrate that they're transformational? Compared to the rest of the rank and file out there.
This is the most exciting thing about using this vocabulary and the framework of transformations. If you go to the market with a common offering, you're going to command a common price. Common prices don't excite me as a pricer. I
Right.
want to go to the market with an uncommon offering to command an uncommon price, like Apple or Porsche or whatever. And this gives you that ability. This gives you a framework and the vocabulary. The language is a big part of this transformation as well. All change is linguistic. You know, if we want to change the culture, we have to change our conversation and our vocabulary. And I just think this gives the reason I'm into this, guys, is because I think this gives firms 2, 3, 4, 5 times the pricing power they have now.
yes.
Yeah.
Because here's the North Star, and I'm sure you've heard of this: concierge doctors.
Yep.
Concierge doctors charge anywhere from 10 grand to 36 grand a year for a couple, and maybe another 4 or 5 grand per kid. These doctors that are general physicians say to you, their covenant with you is whatever you need medically that we do, and a GP doesn't do everything, right? Whatever you need medically that we do, you're covered. They have no waiting rooms in their offices. They run it. Some of these doctors only have 50 patients or 50 couples to 100. So they always have capacity for emergencies. They'll come to your home, your office, wherever you are. Some of them even fly overseas if you're on a trip. I mean, we're talking about companies or practices that deal with the top 5% of the wealth. But now they have little baby cousins known as direct primary care physicians. There's over 2,500 of these nationwide. They're in every state. They charge anywhere from 100 to 300 bucks a month. They don't take insurance, and they only have 600 patients, whereas the average GP in the US has 2,400 patients. So they're running
Wow.
at 25% capacity. These doctors are flourishing. Every one of these independent practices has a waiting list.
Mm.
Somebody has to die or move before you get in. And these doctors are flourishing. And it's because I think a professional firm is defined by the services and the customers it doesn't have. A GP, we all know what a GP does, but more importantly, we know what they don't do. If I go into my GP and ask him to do heart surgery, he's not going to do it, but he'll quarterback the relationship with that specialist. And I think accountants can do the exact same thing as this model. And by the way, the first concierge doctor was in 1996.
Wow.
Ron, when you were talking about books, you talked about the experience economy. It just triggered a memory, and I'm curious about your thoughts. Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art, and in there he talks about the resistance, how writers don't face writer's block; they face this compulsion of not going beyond where they are today. There's this call to homeostasis. I assume for anyone that we, as a service provider, are assisting in a transformation, there may be an initial excitement, jubilation, they're going to do it, and then the resistance kicks in. This call to the average, the standard. If that's true, how do we help our clients navigate that? Because otherwise, I think they're a lost cause. We'll lose them as clients.
Yeah, it's a great question. Again, it's very similar to how did we move firms away from hourly billing to what
Yeah.
you guys are advocating with value pricing and packaging and all of that. It was a very, very slow process. It really, I mean, I've been touting this since 1990, And it's taken a long time, but now I can finally say that we're in the early majority of firms that value price or at least fixed price and are no longer predominantly pricing by the hour. And I think what's going to propel this change even faster is because economic eras don't care about your feelings and your trepidations. If the economy is moving this way, the train has left the station. You're either on it or under it. Take your pick, because this is going to bowl over you. Because if your competition is out there talking about transformations and you're talking about scope of work and effort and change orders and all that, you're going to be left behind.
Fascinating. And
Yeah.
but what
I
about
love
the
we're all
customer?
like, dang.
But what about the customer? So with Profit First, we have an accountant who's trying to guide a client who wants to be more profitable. They say this is the path, this Profit First, but the client is resistant to it, or at least accepts it in the beginning and then says, I give in because it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering, is there techniques to get past that uncomfortable stage?
No, I think uncomfortableness is important for change. People have to struggle with something before before they can change. It's that liminal space,
Yeah.
that portal, that border between the new and the old. You're not in either spot in that liminal space. This is why the groom carried the bride over the threshold, right? They were leaving one world, being single, and entering into another, but in that liminal space over the threshold, they're not in either space yet. And
Yeah.
people have to go through that to change. But human flourishing is all about change.
Yeah.
Humans do change. I mean, certain behaviors probably don't, but humans are capable of changing. And everybody has higher aspirations. It's our job as professionals to find what those are, just like it's these doctors' jobs to keep us healthy rather than just cure us when we present with a problem. And
How
by
do
the
you,
way,
how do you handle that? You want the transformation more than they do, right? Don't they? Right? Don't they have to want to go? Don't
they
they
have
have
to
to
want
want
it.
to? Yeah, they have to want
Yep,
to go through the hard work to get the
absolutely.
results.
Well, and this is
Absolutely.
where it goes back to marketing. I mean, you mentioned the hero's journey before. I mean, part of our job as looking for the people who want the transformation is sharing, here's where you are. And here's the pain that you're in. I know this. Here are the big problems. Here's your internal fear. Here's your external challenge. Here's what you're saying to yourself. And the more they can see themselves, then those are the people who are like, I'm sick of this. Right. So it's helping the people to be like, oh, they get me. I love that line of, um, defined, but we're defined by the people that we serve, the service, the things we serve, and the clients the people we do not serve.
Sure.
Right. So
Right.
being able to be very clear of if you don't see yourself on here, we're not for you. But if you see yourself on here, here we are.
Right. The customer, you're right, Ron and Liz, the customer has to want to change. Think about going to a personal trainer. If if after 6 months of going there, you're still, a pant load, they're probably going to fire you because you're the worst walking billboard for their offering, right?
Yeah.
So you've got to want to change. Joe Pine tells the story, and I love it because it's so simple. He's a good golfer. He was like a 15 handicap, and he went to a golf pro and he said, I want to be a single digit handicapper. Now, the golf pro can look at your swing and see if this guy's physically capable. Does he have the swing mechanics and all that of being a scratcher, a single digit golfer? And the guy said, okay, my lessons are $150 per half hour. And Joe Pine's like, no, no, no. I don't care about your lessons. I'll give you 10 grand if you can bring me to a single digit handicap. And if you can do it within a week, even better. So I might even give you a bonus, right? Now, I'm not arguing for the way to price this. I'm arguing for what does that do to the relationship between the golf pro and Joe? Well, it changes it. I mean, I'm sure the golf pro was pounding on his door at 7 a.m. Come on, let's go. We're going to go play 18. He probably went out there and he did actually. Joe found a pro that did this and ended up paying him the 10 grand. But it's a different working relationship when you're
Right.
helping people achieve their dreams.
It's more intimate.
Much more. It's more relational rather than transactional.
I know we got to start wrapping things up here, but should we, in helping people through this transformation, prognosticate and tell them, here's what's coming, here's how you are going to be resistant, and preparing them, inoculating them for the potential resistance?
Yes, I think that's a great idea. I can offer one thing there that I've been going through. Joe Pine is working on his next book called The Transformation Economy. It'll be due out from Harvard Business Press later this year, I think in the fall sometime. He's got a Substack, and he is, as he writes the chapters, he's throwing them out to his readers. And this has been going on for about a year now. I've been reading these things and my mind is blown. I can't even think about going back to the service transactional value priced or hourly billing economy, because I know for a fact that these transformations are coming. We just interviewed another author who wrote the book Trends in the Transformation Economy. And this book has got hundreds of examples of companies already doing this in the tourism industry, in the medical industry, in automobile industry. Examples from Nike and Mayo Clinic. I mean, you go down the line. You know how when you buy a red Volkswagen, you start seeing them all over the place.
Right.
Yep.
It's the same for me now with transformation. I'm seeing this all over.
Conscious
Now,
awareness.
it's embryonic, and this, I know it scares the heck out of people, folks. I know it does, but I'm telling you, economic offerings don't care about your trepidations and your feelings and your anxiety. They come at you no matter what, and I think this is coming. I really do. So
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up though.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Well, so we're at time.
Yeah, this is
And
great.
Ron Baker, since you share what you share, now everyone's going to be triggered by hearing transformation economy going forth.
I hope so.
Before we let you go, where can our listeners learn more and find out more about you, what you're doing?
We've been talking about this on our show, thesoulofenterprise.com. We've interviewed Joe Pine twice.
Nice.
The last one on this topic, and he has vowed to come back when the book comes out. So we will definitely have him back on. And then I would say you can find me at, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter at Ronald, or X, at Ronald Baker. And also I'm happy to chat with any of your folks at ron@verisage.com is my email. But more importantly, go out and take a look at Joe Pine's Substack on this. And just if you read one article, I promise you'll be hooked. This is the future. There's no doubt in my mind this is where we're headed.
Ron Baker, thanks so much for
Wow.
joining us today.
It was a pleasure, Ron. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
To our listeners, you just had a master class.
Can we have him on every show?
Yeah, he's going to cost us money, though.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Not money.
No,
I want people talk with your people, Ron Baker. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to
And an
recap what we
S.
learned from Ron. We have an OB Ron, our Ron, Insider Access. I got GMAP Now test. That's an aphorism that's going to blow your mind. And then we're going to do a trippy, or we're going to start off with a, we're going to start off with a
You're doing it wrong again, McCallowitz.
trippy question.
See, didn't he screw it up, Liz? Don't we do the what you learned, then the trippy question?
I forgot that already.
Oh,
That was so 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we forgot. That was
All right,
24.
go for it.
What's the trippy question?
Oh my gosh. I can't stop saying the word transformation in my head. It's so funny. So good. Okay. This question is, my parents could have helped me more in my career by A, loaning me some money, B, listening to and talking more about my needs, C, introducing me to the right people, D, not putting such pressure on me to succeed.
I'm going to do the jerky answer and say none of the above. My parents were so supportive in my entrepreneurial journey. They did it perfectly. I've been an entrepreneur ever since I graduated college, and it wouldn't have been without their support. And they knew when to throttle up and they knew when to throttle down.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I the first thing as you were going, I was like, no, they did. Very blessed that my parents have always encouraged me to do more, be more, and don't let disabilities or whatever hold you back. You can get through it. So I can't wish my parents provided me with anything more than what they've have already.
I can.
Sorry.
Nice, Liz.
I mean, I'm going to say this is a product of being a girl. And so it's fascinating what my dad did for other people's sons,
Right.
versus what he did for his own daughters. So, I look back now and I'm like, dang, like golf is such a good example. The man only golfed on days that ended in day. And I didn't learn how to golf until 5 years ago because I wanted to. And I'm like, why didn't he hang out with us in the golf course?
Well, I mean, my
so-
dad didn't do a lot of things.
but it was the business one. No, but for business wise, like it, there were a lot of missed opportunities where we were more like,
You weren't thought of.
Right. Where we were thought of in the box that was existing in the 80s and 90s. And so it's a bummer.
So good. This show's now about masochism. I really appreciate you doing that.
You're welcome. But yeah, no, so the nice answer was introducing me to the right people. How about that one?
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So let's move on to the takeaways.
Yeah.
Totally.
Ron Baker was sharing. I'm going to go first. He said one line that just to me epitomized what transformation is. He said, the customer is the product.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started repeating that over and over again. And by seeing it from that perspective, now I understand what transformation is.
Yeah.
Ron?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of quotes written down, all sorts of gems here. But what I really like, and I think that I'm going to be using, is math at the moment versus results in the outcome, the desires. Right? They're so focused on getting the work done versus what the customer really needs at the end of the day. Yes, they need a clean set of books, but what do they really need? More money in their pocket.
Right. And mine were my biggest ones were the questions. What is your desired future? I've been spending so much time on specifically the hero's journey and redefining and refining the sales calls and discovery calls for our members recently. And it's been for the last 4 months. That's what I feel like I've been focusing on. And that's just another wonderful question. So, what's the desired outcome?
This is also I'm feeling better about what we've been doing here at Profit First Professional,
100%.
because I know we had discussions that transformation may have been too big for us to, empower our members with, but this conversation today lets me know that I think we were ahead of the curve.
I was just going to say LFG, let's go. Right.
Yeah.
Like this, we're just early. We were just too early.
Yeah. And, the words that we used, I think, are going to be echoed by the industry. And so, this was great for me as, moving things forward. Ron
Baker's been preaching value-based pricing since the 90s, right?
I heard
and we're at the majority. That's a very that's very enlightening. All right, let's do an Obi-Ron Insider Access. What do you got, Obi-Ron?
Okay, this is no BS. This is really easy. This is something that I've done here that you can do in your own business, and it works. And that's literally by a couple of Ron's books. Okay, the first book that I personally purchased was Implementing Value Pricing. It's about this big, but that is the Bible, guys. If you really want to learn and understand, buy that one. The next one that I really enjoyed reading that was a lot of fun was Soul of Enterprise. It's a compliment to Ron's podcast. So I'm not just blowing smoke at Ron, but I have been following him since day one in this industry. He's a thought leader and he's genuine in everything that he does, and he honestly wants to help the profession. So follow Ron, buy his books, and understand what he's trying to do here. It will make a difference in your business and your customers' businesses.
That is mind blown. Oh,
yeah.
Well done. I'm going to wrap us up with an aphorism that you already know, and I'm going to make it a McCallum-aphorism.
Oh, geez. Here we go.
Oh, boy.
The aphorism everyone knows is revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Here's how I'm going to McCallicize it. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, debt is inhumanity.
Oh.
And when I say that, it's because most debt eats at our emotions incessantly, day in, day out. The worry and the stress puts on a business. If you have debt sitting in your business, it's probably pulling you, distracting you from doing what you need to do in your business. Let's get rid of that debt. All right.
Awesome, guys. Nice job, Mike. Ron, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us. Listeners, thank you again. Don't forget to subscribe to Grow My Accounting Practice podcast. And Liz, what else do they really, 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 really need to do?
Well, if they are interested in the transformation economy, if they're interested in transforming their clients, taking them from where they are now, which is some sort of pain, to where they want to go, which is wherever they tell you, go to profitfirstprofessions.com, click on that, become a member, but you'll have an opportunity to spend some time getting to know Ron himself. We'll discuss if and how you may be of service in your transformation. So profitfirstprofessionals.com. Love to chat with you.
Yeah, let's help you transform your customers. That's it. That's what we're talking about. Let's make this place a greater earth.
Yep. All right.
Boom.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
See
great
ya.
night.